All right, guys, listen up. I got something important I want to tell you. Have you been seriously hurt? Because your injury could be worth millions. And when it comes to getting what you deserve, Morgan & Morgan will not settle for anything less than you deserve if you become their client. Just check out these numbers from the past couple months. $12 million in Florida. That's 34 times the highest insurance offer. Plus we did $26 million in Philadelphia, which is 40 times higher than the insurance offer. These guys at Morgan & Morgan are getting their clients serious results for victims of life-altering car crashes. And here's the best part. Their fee? Absolutely free unless they win for you. No upfront costs, no hidden fees. Just pure aggressive representation. So if you've been injured and you need a real heavyweight in your corner, don't wait. Your life could change with just a few clicks. You can start your claim right now. Just go to www.forthepeople.com/Chael. You can find that in the description. Or you can scan the QR code with your phone's camera. Morgan & Morgan, they're not just a law firm, they're a movement. For the people, by the people. Is Adesanya going to fight again? Who would it be? And what would they be fighting about? And I realized that became 3 questions, but it has to. The answer doesn't become yes with one. Will Adesanya fight again? Okay, now for some guys you might go, I sure hope so, or I hope he doesn't. What a lot of great members he had. I understand that, but hold, that's not quite what we're doing here. Is he gonna fight again? Against who? And what are they gonna be fighting for? All of those must be answered to get a yes. Particularly with Izzy. It's gotta be personal. Izzy has never left an arena and not let us know who he was going to fight next. He tried on this last interview. He got us as close to that as he could. He just didn't have an opponent. He did already give you the answer, which is he will be fighting again. I have a feeling I could speed that up even a little bit. I don't think he's going to allow a year to go on. I believe Izzy's next fight will be announced and will take place in about 5 months, or within about 5 months, I believe. And if it doesn't, and you got to really understand this, if it doesn't, if Izzy's phone doesn't ring, something hasn't worked out, it's announced within 12 to 14 weeks, you now have your answer from the UFC. And there's never a time that you're done with this business. You will wake up one day to find out the business is done with you. So you can get a fight. You come back in a year and get a fight. You come back in 2 years and get a fight, right? You got enough good graces over there. You got enough stroke and pull. And if they don't have a plan for you that comes anywhere in the next 3.5 to 4 months, they are done with you. You could get a fight, but you're no longer part of the plans. You're no longer one of the players. You're no longer one of the meaningful guys. If you call and you were to hound, they come up with something for you. It's going to be an afterthought. It's not going to be a big, beautiful placement, but you will then have your answer. So, Izzy knows all these things, by the way. Izzy is very, very cunning. And he is put in a little bit of a difficult position. He has never done anything that's been of interest or even discussed short of a trajectory to the World Championship. Whether he was bringing the belt, whether he was fighting for the belt, or whether he was doing other fights, amazing people, and they were all steps forward. Never has he gone the other way. It wouldn't matter if it was 1 spot, it wouldn't matter if it was 3 spots. Like, they can still be meaningful. I'm just sharing for you, he's in a different spot. And I can also assure you, he knows it. But how is he going to go out there and pick a fight with somebody? That isn't what he does. The somebody else starts it, and you can start it very easily, right? Like some guy, you don't have to roll a boulder over his house. You can just throw a pebble towards his yard. He'll take it from there. But who's going to do that? Who's it going to be? There's guys out there with massive opportunities. There was guys out there that have been begging and asking, or at least begging and fainting, asking to fight Adesanya. Now, the real truth is he had the belt and they wanted to be champion. He had a main event spot and they wanted to get to the main event. I'm good with that, by the way. But I'm just sharing with you. It was the belt that mattered because now all of a sudden Adesanya's available. Like those fights that you couldn't make before. As much as you could see a guy like Bo Nickel, with the rest being a problem for Izzy, as much as history has told us, man, that's actually a really difficult fight. Boy, the odds makers would have a hard time. As much as you know that, you couldn't take a guy out of the top 10 and put him in to a world title fight. We tried it. It was called 3 years ago, and it was called Chimaev, and it was called against Kamaru Usman. Like, that just can't be done. However, you could most certainly take Bo Nickel and put him in there with Israel Adesanya right now. But then you would have the promise, how are you going to get Izzy to show up? And how are you going to get Izzy to show up if there's nothing on it? And if you're moving the other way within the rankings, it's very hard for him. Like, there's a number of top guys, who have no chance of ever returning to a title fight. But they're not aware of that. It's what keeps them going. It literally gets them out of bed in the morning. It literally gets them into practice. It literally dictates if they're going to let their hair down on a Friday night. It dictates the food they put in mouth. I'm just sharing for you, like, those are positive things. There's reasons that you would never tell a guy, but there are a number of top guys who are still driven to return to or in pursuit of, it will never happen. I couldn't go that far with Izzy. That is a real master who, by the way, from a physical standpoint, he looked really good on Saturday. That part seems to be forgotten. And the round where a guy falls apart, the round where the guy, he can't keep it together, even if it's for an instant, generally and historically does not come after a round that he had just won. So there was a number of things that were out of place. I just share for you, like, Izzy's really good. He took a year off. He fought a guy that's a little better than we knew that it was. Oh, and by the way, Izzy was winning moments. As a matter of fact, Izzy had even won frames, known as a round. Like, he looked really good. It's not as though he couldn't return to that spot. But how's he going to get there? We got a little bit of a logjam, right? For the first time, Adesanya is not the one that comes out of anyone's mouth to be going for the belt. For the first time. When Izzy dropped the belt on August 6th of last year, Izzy's phone rang. You guys didn't hear about it, but he was the one that was offered Sean Strickland. When that didn't come to fruition, we're going to look at the Chimaev Kamaru Usman winner. When that didn't come to fruition, it went back to Izzy, who turned it down again, and that is the only reason you ever ended up with DDP, who, by the way, was offered to defend at UFC at 300 against Israel Adesanya. That's right. There has not been a conversation in 4 years about a title shot at middleweight that didn't involve 50% Adesanya. So it's a very different situation, and it's a very different drive. And that is the test right now, right? You hear about fighters all the time. But we've seen them as soon as somebody meets them, as soon as they get knocked down, do they ever get up? You see it all the time, where the guy that you thought was the fighter and advertised, and he thought even about himself, finds out he's not. But these are those times. It's a completely different drive, and it's a rare group of people, the elite. But when you're moving forward, once you get there, it's another kind of guy to hang on, right? The elite. Izzy's shown that. But that does not, in and of itself, mean that you can pass the third and final test, which is what happens when we don't dangle that carrot in front of you. What happens when that money isn't the same? What happens when that beautiful gold trinket? What happens when you go to a press conference and you're not the main event? You're now one of the guys trying to climb back. It's different. It's different. It's the final test. And that is ultimately the game that is being played right now. That's ultimately the spot that Adesanya is in. Because you know what, guys? It's probably not going to turn personal. And as far as what are they fighting for, is this a number one contendership match? No. No. Even if stated that it is, no. So you're going to take two ingredients away, two ingredients that have been there for every single match that one of the all-time greats has had. They're going to be gone. He's going to get a phone call. There's going to be a name offered to him, which is going to be a terrible matchup. That's how this goes. Like, we don't have to wait until that call comes in. I'm telling you the call right now. It's going to be a terrible matchup, perhaps a name that you can't even repeat. real strong in grappling, by the way. And that will be the final prong of the test. Can you say yes? Can you find a way? Can you rely on discipline as opposed to motivation? It's hard, man, and I wouldn't judge him either way. It's a hard game. He is one of the specials and one of the elites. He has passed 2 of the 3. There's only 3 prongs out there. He's found himself on prong number 3. How is he going to respond? And we can work it out right now. Phone's going to ring. It ain't going to be personal. It ain't going to be a matchup that you like. It's not going to be a guy ranked higher. There's going to be no belt. You're going to be going the other way in a terrible matchup, which shines him up and doesn't do a whole lot for you. Same spot that a lot of other guys were in, except you were on the other side of that. So how are you going to respond now?